I might have experienced a hurricane, but nothing is worse than watching another episode of She-Hulk.
Yeah.
The
This
show.
episode on She-Hulk, sorry everyone, I am away. I evacuated because my area is prone to flooding, and so I just happened to be invited to Busch Gardens by Jake the Viking, and I was like, why don't I just hang out for a while till the storm passes? So it's kind of what happened, but that's why I don't have my camera. So forgive me, no camera. But you get to see Steph's beautiful face. You get to see Mike's beautiful smile. So as we tear down this wonderful She-Hulk episode of She-Hulk, episode 7, Jen waits for a text. It's literally the whole episode.
Yeah, it really is.
She literally just waits for a text message from a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor
Made us
Jen.
watch a whole episode of that. Yeah.
You know what else they did too? We'll get into it. Is they actually had real comic book characters in, but like these old, like Porcupine and
Yeah.
Man Bull. They're actually comic book characters, but boy, did they just totally screw them up in this show.
Yeah.
They screwed them up pretty bad. So,
Yeah, they did.
The last episode, the last review we did, I had three comments in the comment section that said, "Can you tell Epic Mike not to say yeah every time Steph is talking?"
Yeah. Wow.
That's funny.
Sorry, Steph. I don't agree with anything you have to say. No.
But I'm okay with that.
I was
Don't
just
agree
like,
with
what? Also, everyone, I'm on my laptop, so forgive me for
You gotta
this
find-
wonderful quality that we're gonna have here when I show off the photos. So, are you guys ready?
So excited.
Oh, yay.
So the episode starts off where it left off. Jen was eating French fries with a guy named Josh that she met at the wedding, and they start having a fun little text with each other in the first 5 minutes or 6 minutes of the episode. They go out on a couple of dates, and Jen is overly obsessed with Josh because she's like, I finally found a man that likes Jen, not She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And after date number, who knows, 3 or 4, she decides that she's going to have midnight relations.
It was date number 3. It was third date sex. This episode is terrible. Like I said, I really feel I absolutely positively 100% wholeheartedly believe that She-Hulk paints a picture of women that would be like terrifying to men. Because spoiler alert, not all women are like Jen. I know that this is supposed to be shot through the eyes of, or through the female lens, but no, it is 100% not. Because when I was watching the opening scene of this show, the first thing I thought was, wow, I'm pretty sure Jen's an alcoholic, because like it shows her taking a shot. She's eating like this healthy cheese stick, and then it goes to her taking a shot.
Right in the middle of the day. She's just like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, just throwing one back. And then not only that, but she's being extremely fake. We've gone through this whole show of Jen, and she's, she wants to be a lawyer. She's a serious lawyer. She's a very serious person. At no point at all, and I've called this out in the past episodes, does she ever show one single ounce of femininity. But here she meets a guy and she puts on like this fucking fake dress. Where did this dress come from? We've never seen her wear this dress. We've never seen her wear like these girly clothes, with like these really cute little strappy sandals. At no time have we ever seen that. If she's wearing a pair of sandals, she's wearing like those like thick manly sandals that we see her wearing later on, because while she's going on this date, she's just kind of like, dressing all girly and cute, and it's extremely fake. And we know this why, because she's changing things around in her apartment. Clearly she's, wanting to impress this person. So it's like, okay, I don't get it. Like, you met this person, you talked to this person at the wedding, you talked about being a lawyer. Clearly, you've talked about all of that because that stuff's important to you. But now you're like putting up like this sort of fake front because later on in the episode we see her dressed how she normally dresses, with her big clunky sandals, and it's like, where did all of these cute little clothes come from? Because she doesn't dress like that for work. She never has. People are constantly telling her, you dress like shit. You know what I mean? So
Steph.
It's like, where did all this come from?
Steph,
Especially her best friend. Her best friend points it out, like, you dress like shit. She would know, right? She would tell her, like, why don't you wear this outfit that I've seen in your closet before? But no, it's like all of this fake and all this happiness. Where does it stem from? A guy. It's
Steph,
like, I'm a miserable
women
person until
aren't
I meet a
happy.
man. It's so crazy.
Women aren't happy without a man in their life. That's the point. I don't know why you haven't gotten this lesson yet. Obviously, you're not living the real woman experience because
I guess not.
she's been miserable since she's existed, apparently, and it's always a bad time. But now she has a man in her life, and everything is good.
What I hate about
this shows me that this person is obsessive. This is still a new relationship, brand new, 3 dates, and she's just like, this is my man now, because she becomes so obsessive to where everything revolves around receiving a text back from this guy.
What I
like,
can't
are you
stand.
fucking kidding me?
What I can't stand is they're, in my opinion, they're trying to show this as the superhero struggle. You know how every superhero has a struggle. Spider-Man and everybody, even Hulk. We talked about that before. Hulk was they tried to kill him, the government, they Spider-Man is hunted down as a vigilante by the press. Jameson makes him out to be a terrible person. But this is her struggle, is that no one likes Jen.
Yeah.
This is her superhero struggle.
No, and this guy supposedly does like Jen. Okay, and what it made me laugh at the end. Okay, at the end of we'll get there, but I laughed so hard. Yes, this is her struggle. No man likes Jen. She can't get a date as Jen. She gets all the attention as She-Hulk, and she talks about it later on. No one likes Jen. Who would like her, honestly? I'm sorry, but she is obsessive. She's controlling. She is bitter. She's
a raging alcoholic.
And she's an alcoholic. I'm sorry, she's an alcoholic. She treats men like shit. Why would anybody want to date this person?
Because she's She-Hulk.
Why would anybody want to? She couldn't get any dates as Jen. She put herself out there as Jen.
She's a successful lawyer.
And then she put herself out there as She-Hulk. And it's kind of like, what the hell? Like, honestly, who would want to date you?
But
You're
this
an
is
angry, bitter woman.
This has been the same thing in every episode, just like when she went to the wedding in the last episode. She's like, I just wanted people to like Jen. And it's just the same thing. Now, we have to remember the scene right here, because this was the last text that she sent Josh after they slept together.
Yeah.
And she wakes up and Josh is not in the bed next to her, but she's happy. She's like, that was fun. I can't stop smiling. And this is the entire episode. She waits for Josh to text back, no matter what she's doing, where she's at, what's going on in life. And so then we get this wonderful montage. I wish I was joking, where her best friend says, it's been 12 hours after you slept with someone for the first time. You got to wait before they text you back. So this is the psychology of, let's teach them young girls after they sleep with a man. Just wait. Just wait some time before he texts you back.
Such a weird.
She's such a busy, serious lawyer. She has nothing.
And then she complains.
This shows she has no social life other than like going out drinking with her friend, because she becomes so obsessive to the point where we literally get a shot of her with her fucking crazy eyes.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
When she's eating cereal. Yeah, I couldn't. That was rough.
I was like, this is in the show. They're literally showing She-Hulk with a woman with crazy eyes obsessing over a dude that she went on a date with 3 times. Are you kidding me?
So
Well,
we
yeah,
can
but Steph, she slept with him. This is the thing. It's important to,
I
you sleep
can't.
with a guy, you give him 12 hours, and they better text you back, or else,
Well, look at her here. Why
It
can't
shows
he
the
just
evils of
text me
having a
back?
casual sex life. That's what it shows.
Yeah.
So while everyone is on the edge of their seat waiting for Josh to text her back, and She-Hulk is like, "Oh, why can't it's why is this so hard?" We get to Sunday, and finally her phone rings. But I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it's not Josh. It's it's Abomination's parole officer. Apparently,
Yeah.
something happened to the ankle bracelet. It's malfunctioning, and he wants to go out and check on it.
I think
And
he went like outside of his perimeters or something like that.
or that he changed to the Abomination, or that's what they think. And
Yeah.
and he's like, "So, Jen, can you come with me? Because I'm scared. And if you're the She-Hulk, maybe nothing will happen." So she's like, "Yeah, I got nothing going on." So they show up and they check the bracelet, and they're like, "Yeah, you probably
Not
walked too close to an electric fence." I
Yeah,
mean,
not
that's
only that, but like, wouldn't she want to do that? She's his lawyer, and she's getting a call from his parole officer. Okay, yeah, your lawyer. I mean, the lawyer would want to be there. It's not like the lawyer would want to be updated. You know what I mean on this because it's a very serious thing. Abomination is out there. She worked really hard to get
Yep.
him out of jail. You would think that this wouldn't be such a burden on her, but I mean, it is because she's waiting for a text back.
You're assuming that she cares about her job more than she cares about
I
the
mean,
guy
we've
she's
been
stuck with.
told by the show that her job is the one important thing to Jen, the only important thing to Jen. So,
Mhm.
yes, I would assume that this would be an important deal for her.
The other thing that's funny is when they get to the compound the really nice gated compound that Abomination is now living on, like the lawyer is or the parole officer's like at the gate trying to get it open. As soon as it opens, she just speeds right past him. She doesn't say hi to him or
I
anything.
know.
Yeah.
He even like yells out for her, and she has the window down, and she just drives right past him.
I mean,
Because
Mike,
she
she has a
is
very
waiting
busy
for a
day of
text.
waiting.
Yeah.
Okay, he
She's waiting for a
interrupts her day
text.
of waiting.
Yeah.
So just to let everybody know, throughout the entire episode, she's constantly on her phone while she's in the car, wherever she's at, and
Constantly. Yeah.
waiting for that text back from Josh. But here comes the big twist, everyone. The big twist is that these, I guess, C plus superheroes that they put in the show were wrestling, and one of them fell on the hood of her Prius. And Jen's like, "You're gonna have to apologize to my Prius with money." And she's stuck there for a little while until the tow truck comes. So that's the plot of the episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, another big twist is she's stuck where there's no cell service.
Yes, that's the big one.
Oh no.
She might miss the text back. So this is the show, everyone. This is the actual show.
I can't believe you didn't get a shot of her eating her cereal because that was terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, I hope he doesn't text back. Can you
I
imagine her
almost-
as a girlfriend if he is just if he's not texting her back right away after a third date? Can you imagine like if he actually was dating this person, how obsessive she would be?
So here's the picture that Steph was talking about. The crazy woman waiting for a text back from Josh, just staring.
Nothing is moving on her but her mouth because she's eating cereal. But she's staring at her phone. Obsessively staring at her phone.
Yeah, that's
at this point I was
nightmare
like,
fuel.
good God, do not text this woman back. Seriously.
Mike
Like,
is speechless.
This is the part where I'm like, are they like deliberately showing women as a crazy species? Like literally crazy. Once you sleep with us, you're our boyfriend and that's it. We expect texts back.
Well, I mean,
Or
they
we
could
turn
have.
into a crazy person. I'm just like, holy shit.
They
And this
could
is
have done.
This is the insanity of casual sex right here. This is where it'll get you. This is where it'll get you.
They could have just like, I mean, if they would have added some dialogue in here or a little bit something else, it would have seemed a little less crazy. But yeah, she just pretty much just stares and walks around blankly, not saying anything. And she was like, "Oh, like, I mean, we've seen other situations, other shows or movies where like the guy doesn't text the girl or she doesn't hear back, or the guy doesn't hear back from the girl, and there's like a back and forth, and it's like kind of funny or comical, but none of that. They just have her like staring off, like just looking at her phone constantly, and you're like, what else do you do with your life? Like, I don't. It's weird. It just doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah, exactly. They would have had like her just going through her day, because she's a lawyer. As a lawyer, I mean, you would expect her to be busy with clients. You would expect her, like, maybe show her like moving on with her life, having fun, and occasionally checking her phone and showing like, that's odd, he hasn't texted back. But then going back and doing whatever she has going on in her life, doing, her work as a lawyer, speaking to clients, being at like a bar with her friend, because as we've established, she's an alcoholic, and occasionally checking her phone to see if he's, texted her back, but maybe brushing it off a little bit, like, that's odd. Oh, well.
She's a superhero.
But no,
she should be doing superhero things.
Yeah, but no, they don't show that. They don't show that she has a life outside of a man. It's kind of like, again, true. It's kind of like they're painting men terrible, right? Because her happiness is attached to this man, and this man is not texting her back.
I'm going to introduce you to the characters that were ruined by this television show. So you're going to meet, these are actual comic book characters. Yeah. This is Man Bull. This is the Matador, or they call him, what do they call him? I can't even see that.
El Aguila.
Ah, that's right. That's right. Then we have these two. We have the Vampire, and we have Porcupine. Sad reality is, in this show, it looks like all these characters are kind of fake, like especially Porcupine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the guy that wears pine needles. Not but yeah, so these are all in the episode that you're about to see.
Yeah.
Get totally wrecked because they have emotional damage, I guess.
Emotional damage. Yeah.
So Jen is stuck, and Abomination's like, well, you could join us for one of our therapy sessions. She's like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna walk around, and these are the characters that we meet. There's Man Bull, there's the ones that we just showed you. And this is what she does most of the time. She is walking around with her hands in the air, looking for service, because she desperately wants that text back. I mean, it even got to the point where they added the words
no service,
where she just keeps walking around the entire compound with no service. She finally finds some service, and it's inside the, I guess, the counselor room, where all those super villains or heroes or people are all sitting with Abomination, talking about their feelings and how to deal with their anger. And Jen finally gets a bar of service, and she just sits there, and a new guy walks in, and Jen freaks out. She's like, what? This guy's here? And then she says a line that I thought it was so appropriate for the show. She goes, really, you probably don't even remember.
Yeah.
I was like, I had to freeze it on that one. I was like, you're right. Most of us don't even remember.
I was like, who is that guy? I have no idea who he is. And then when she said that, I laughed, because 100% correct. Who the fuck is that?
I was like, wait, what? Well, the other thing too, the weird thing about all these characters in this room, with the exception of Abomination, like, I'm not trying to overgeneralize. Every single one of them talks like this. Every single one of them. The whole episode. And I was like, are they all, and then like, it's heavily implied that like Man Bull and El Aguilera are like together. I don't know. Like,
they literally looked in the back of the book and were like, give us some of the no-name comic book characters that we could just destroy in this show, and no one will care about it. And so the guy that comes in is the guy that was part of the Wrecking Crew, who tried to steal She-Hulk's blood. If you guys remember that fight scene in the alley, they actually went back and wasted more time on the show to show a little clip from that. Jen then turns into She-Hulk and grabs him and holds him up, and it was like, this guy tried to beat us up in the alley. And it's at this moment where the rest of the superheroes or whatever they are sitting around, we're like, why don't you have a seat and let's just talk this out like we're in a counseling session.
Mm-hmm.
So then he starts and he's like, I don't need a magic crowbar to give me a false sense of power, and yay. So now he's a good guy. And then Jen decides she wanted to open up about Josh. And she begins to tell the tale of, when we slept
Of the
together
3
for the
dates.
first time.
No.
And
The
they finally
tale
came
of
to the conclusion that he's probably ghosting you. And the big the big thing for Jen is that they wanted her to delete his phone number in her phone. That was a
Yeah.
big thing. She was like, I can't do it. And then she goes on this big powwow about, you remember the girl in high school that was always more attractive and more athletic and everybody got all the attention?
Yeah.
Well, that's what She-Hulk is. And not Jen. So we're again on episode 7 with the same ringing philosophy of nobody. This show should be called Everybody Hates Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she's upset about that, and it's like, that's what She-Hulk. So now she's like, the struggle is I hate She-Hulk because she gets all the attention, not Jen.
Which is weird because Jen is She-Hulk.
Exactly.
They're not two different people.
They're not two different people. That is something that really frustrated me, because she's, as She-Hulk, she's speaking about herself in the third person.
Yeah.
She's like, Jen is cool. Jen is this. It would make sense for Bruce Banner to talk about the Hulk like that, right?
Yeah.
Because we've been shown that they're two different personalities. But in this show, she's Jen. She is the same person when she is Jen and when she is She-Hulk. So the fact that she's talking about Jen like she's a separate person, a separate entity hiding in She-Hulk, or, trapped in She-Hulk or something like that, kind of like Bruce Banner, it doesn't make sense, because she's the same person when she's She-Hulk as when she's Jen. It makes no sense. And when she was speaking about Jen, like, Jen is pretty cool. Jen is this. It's like, why do you think that she's another personality inside of you? She's not. You're Jen.
Yeah.
You're Jen.
Yeah.
That is you. So why are you talking about her like that?
Yeah, so I guess she's coming to terms, and there's something that happens, right here. This is what Steph was talking about, and that sucks for Jen because Jen is great. Yeah, I mean, okay. So then he says, so maybe you can stop using She-Hulk as a protective shield.
At no point have we seen her do that.
It's so dumb.
At no point have we seen her use She-Hulk as a protective shield. Because we've seen her use She-Hulk to protect herself against this guy. We've seen her use She-Hulk to catfish a dude and get a date and get laid. We've seen her use She-Hulk to protect a jury. We've never at any time seen her use She-Hulk as a protective shield for Jen.
No.
None. At no point have we seen her do that.
No. I mean, I guess if you count her getting laid by a big muscular doctor, maybe you could count that as her shield.
No, she used it to catfish a dude.
Yeah, but it's like a catfish shield, it's one of those special ones,
Catfish shield.
Because she couldn't get any dates as Jen, so she had to use She-Hulk in order to get a date.
Yeah.
So to be fake. And she's actively said, I don't like the She-Hulk character. She's resented the She-Hulk. She didn't want to be She-Hulk. So why, if she didn't want to be She-Hulk, if she didn't want to be this character, she didn't want to be a hero, she didn't want to do any of that, she's actually resented She-Hulk, or we've shown that she's resented this She-Hulk persona. How is she then using it as a shield? We've never seen her do that.
Yeah.
They literally use this to transition to her deleting Josh's number, everybody clapping, and then they all look at the porcupine and say, stop using your costume as a shield. He takes off the mask and everybody complains that he stinks because apparently he hasn't bathed or washed the costume in a while. This is it. And then he says this really cringy line. He goes, am I ashy? And they're like, no, you just smell. I'm like, what? Why would you why would they throw it? It's just, the jokes are terrible. But then there's this, all right? So apparently Jen feels better now because she's come to terms with whatever she was dealing with. And what is this about? I have no idea why
I don't
everybody
know.
walked her into this place and she went in and stayed in this steam bath and they all waited for her to come out dressed in white, I guess, maybe.
I
And then
have
they
no
all clapped when
idea.
she came out. I'm like, was there
I
something she was
know.
supposed to do in there? Was she smoking
I
weed?
have no
Was she
idea.
just like,
Like
what's
that was lost on me. I was like, was that a deleted scene? I had
It's
no
just
clue where this.
it's literally just a sauna. I don't, and for some reason being in that sauna is like supposed to be magical for her or something. It's weird. I mean, I just don't, they're like obsessed with, getting her in this like yurt. They're like, gotta go in there. You gotta get in here. Everybody does it. And then she's like, yeah, I went in, and everybody's like, yay, you're sweaty now.
I missed it. Then I missed that part where they told her to get in there.
Like they kept talking about it. They're like, oh yeah, don't you want to do some of this like hot yoga or something, or go in the sweat lodge or whatever? And she's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't understand it.
they were all standing outside watching her go in and just like,
And they were confused because she was taking long. I'm like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's a stupid part of the show. And then we get to the end credit where she finally, the tow truck comes and picks her up and she smiles while she's contemplating life. And then all of a sudden, the only part of the show that you really need to know if you want to stay with what's happening is it goes back to the scene after she slept with Josh and it showed what Josh was doing. He literally copied everything from her phone and took a picture of naked Jen in the bed and sent it to Hulk King. And that's the end of the episode. No
I
end credit
laughed when I
scene.
saw this. I was like,
nothing.
So Jen, like literally, the only guy who would want to date her
just dated
evil.
her for
evil.
Is evil guy.
Yep.
Of
Chuckles.
course he's evil.
He only dated her for to do evil things, and
men are evil unless you're Abomination who just sits, and drinks herbal tea.
The one guy that she is showing Jen any attention and giving her compliments is evil.
He's an evil person.
Of course he is.
The other thing too is like earlier in the episode, her friend is like, "Oh, are you obsessing over that intelligentsia site again?" She was like, "Oh, I don't care what random people on the internet have to say about me."
Oh, that's
she's like,
right.
Yeah, she's like, if they can't say it, if they wanted to say it to me in person, then they'll get Hulk smashed. I'm like, so you just beat up anybody that would say anything mean to you in person. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I have a weird like thing. If the middle of the episode was what the show is like, if it was like her, She-Hulk, being a lawyer and then kind of like her weird interactions with weird obscure superheroes, and that was kind of the sitcom vibe that they wanted to go for, the show would probably, it would at least have like a sense of like whimsical or fun, but it's so it's so disjointed. Half the time it's just Jen standing around her apartment feeling bad about herself or staring at her phone, or it's her and her best friend talking about how stupid men are. And then you have this whole like weird plot that showed up out of nowhere where they're like, people are trying to steal her blood. Like all of a sudden everybody's obsessed with that. I'm like, why weren't you chasing down like Bruce Banner and trying to steal his blood or anything like this is like this whole new thing. I don't know. It's just weird. And it's like, they're trying to do almost like this behind the scenes plot. And I'm like, you don't really have that many episodes to do this.
Yeah.
Like this is not something you can just like see it all of a sudden, and you already know that the last episode they're going to try to make a big deal about all of it. But I don't know, it's just weird. Also, how did this guy who's involved with Hulk King get invited to a wedding that Jen was going to be at?
Thank you. Yes,
because
like that was something that I was
yeah.
thinking. I was like, wait, she met this guy at a wedding.
Yeah, unless he just randomly showed up and crashed it, and they're like, I don't know who that guy is, but hey, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, welcome to our wedding, because the wedding itself looked small. There were like a handful of people there.
Yeah.
So you would think that someone would be like, who are you? And not only that, but the bride asked Jen to help her, and then she asked him to help her.
Yeah.
At one point in that episode. So I'm like, I assume she knew him. well enough to ask for help with the wedding.
Maybe the big conspiracy is everybody really does hate Jen, and the whole twist of the show will be everybody's out to get her. Maybe.
I don't see these are a bunch of women that have been hurt or are playing the victim and wrote this show.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
They're
because
like,
it just seems like men treat us terrible because they don't
Yeah.
like us for who we are.
Yep.
And She-Hulk is our person that we see ourselves in, I guess.
that's what the
That-
writer's room is every week. Somebody walks in, they go, listen, I slept with a guy and he didn't text me back in 72 hours. They're like, oh, no,
Put that in the show.
put it in the show. Yeah. And then they're like, wait a minute, did you text him back? Yeah, I asked him. I said, I hope you're okay. And they're like, oh, no, don't do
Yeah.
that. That's the worst thing you could do.
That was the therapy session. And what came out of that? They're like, let's go kill this guy. We're going to
Yeah.
kill him.
Like, let's murder this guy. We should just kill this guy. I'm like,
Because
you don't
he's
know
not
Jen.
texting you back?
Yeah. He didn't text you back. You should murder this guy. Not like we've been together for 6 months and he completely disappeared out of my life or anything.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, we slept together. We had a couple dates and it was a good time. But like, I don't know. He hasn't responded. I mean, it couldn't be that, I don't know, he got in a car accident and died. It couldn't be that some kind of family crisis happened. None of that. It's like, no, he's a piece of garbage and we should kill him.
Mhm.
Yeah, we should suck his blood. That's what the
Yeah.
vampire said.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
let's just catch him and suck all his blood. And you're just like,
Yeah.
this is so. Please don't
Right.
introduce any more Marvel comic characters into this show because they are just ruined for life.
I just don't understand why they're so fruity, all of them. Like even Mr. Immortal when he showed up was kind of fruity. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" He even had like a boyfriend or a husband at one point.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You know what? All of these D-list Marvel characters that you probably barely ever heard of, they're all fruity. They're all into each other, you know? I mean, Manbull and Aguilera are together. They're codependent. They're in a codependent relationship, which doesn't make any sense because he keeps saying, I was never a matador. And he's like, I think you were. And then he goes, okay, well, I did a little matadoring when I was like a teenager. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Like, I don't do the writing. I don't know what's going on. Like, it's
I don't
just
either.
the more every episode we watch, I laugh at all the things that you're not supposed to laugh at because that's how bad the show is.
Yeah.
And it's
I
just
I laughed when the guy that she was dating turned out to be evil.
Yes.
Because, like, of course he's evil.
Like
Yeah.
the two conclusions that me and Lady Epic came to when we were watching this was like either he got kidnapped by the bad guys and is being held for ransom, or he's a bad guy, and it was one of the two. That was only, I was like, those are only two answers. It can't be anything but that because this show is so badly written.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, where are all of Abomination's wives?
Oh, I know. Where did they go?
Where's his cult of wives at? He's living on like this like acreage in this like nice house and
that they bought for him.
But like they're
can't
nowhere
afford
to be
the
seen.
actors.
Yeah.
Their budget
The
ran
actors
out.
are the
Also,
writers.
That's true. And Twitter is still angry because no Daredevil yet. And it's so funny to see people on social media are like, the only reason I'm watching this show is because I'm waiting for Daredevil. And believe me, the writers know this because the Rotten Tomato score, everything is just, it's totally tanking.
This is a terrible show.
No one, like there are YouTubers out there that have made videos saying, I am no longer watching this show. And these are like, some of these people are like Marvel shills.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you
100%.
lost them, then you've lost the plot. I mean, you've lost everything.
They've lost the plot. There's no plot. There is no point to this show.
Yeah.
Absolutely no point. Every single episode are just like filler episodes. It's like there's no point in watching She-Hulk other than like to help you fall asleep at night. Because that's one of the things that I have struggled with. How is this supposed to be fitting in with the Marvel universe? How? And
the show wasn't made for people that
I've seen things online that like She-Hulk is supposed to appear in this movie. Well, great, but who cares? Because nothing that I've seen so far is leading into that. Other than this is She-Hulk, this is who she is, a bitter, cynical lawyer in her 30s
That acts like a teenager. Yeah, that's obsessed with
literally acts like a teenager.
waiting for
It is-
text back.
like,
You
when
know
I-
what's gonna be
when I was seeing this, I was like, I'm sorry, am I watching like a high school
yeah,
show now?
Gossip
Especially
Girl.
like during like the dating scenes, it was just like, oh, it's so cute. Oh,
It's MTV Cribs.
it's
Anyway,
like what we're watching right now.
you know what's gonna be weird is if she does appear in a blockbuster movie, it'll be under a new director, and it might be a completely different character
Yeah, absolutely.
than what we see, because they're gonna be like, yeah, no, you're a superhero, you're gonna act like a superhero, and we're gonna put this nonsense aside and go from there. And then everyone that has those weird little stan accounts, these She-Hulk stan accounts, that are probably run by 15-year-olds, honestly, they'll be all upset because it's not the Jen that they fell in love with.
Yeah. This show is so disjointed from the MCU that they have to change the characters who appear in this show. They have to change them up, and they're not like the characters that we know. They have to change them in order to fit the show. That's how disjointed the show is from the MCU. This doesn't fit in. How does this fit in? There's no overarching plot to this show other than like the underlying thing that like there's someone trying to get her blood. But that's been shown to us in like what, 2 episodes?
Yeah.
That's
imagine,
but let's focus more on that. I'm interested in that. Why do they want her blood? We don't know. It's a secret.
Imagine if this show was not about She-Hulk at all. If it was just a regular show about a person named Jen who was a lawyer, it would be buried into
That's
oblivion.
what the show is.
Nobody
the
would
show
watch
is about
it.
Jen. The
yeah,
show is
nobody
about,
would watch this show. Yeah.
No, because they didn't take anything from the comics. They took like scenes and stuff from the comics, maybe little things that happened to her from the comics. But as far as like a hero's journey, that was left out. Like there's nothing here. I don't see her becoming a hero at all. I don't see that. I see her coming to love Jen. I see her like this is like not about She-Hulk. This is about Jen's self-growth. Why? Why do we need to watch that? Why? Because they took inspiration from like Ally McBeal and lawyer shows.
Yeah.
That's why. That's what this show is. And it's
Ally
a terrible
McBeal
version of that.
Yeah, Ally McBeal is actually popular and well done. Yeah.
Well, everyone, that's episode 7. Our review is twice as long as the show because it's that bad.
Yeah.
And I keep saying this every week. Just when I thought they couldn't get any worse, they just keep outdoing themselves week after week. I really do hope that one episode we sit back and go, you know what?
that wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad. They should have built on this one, but it'll probably be the episode that She-Hulk is not in, like the Book of Boba Fett. When he wasn't in his own episode, that seemed to be the episode everybody liked the most.
Yep.
But thank you, My Nerdy Home, Epic Mike. Their links are in the description as always. Thanks for checking out this review, and we'll catch you next week. The show's almost over.
Yes, thank goodness.
The show's almost over.
Happy about that.
We'll catch you next time.